Welcome into another episode of That's a Tap CT with my guy DJ here. Salute everyone. Hope everybody's doing well. We got lots to cover. We'll talk about our latest thoughts on the controversial decision, the Haney win over Lomachenko. Got the boxing world taken by storm. We'll hit on the UFC. But DJ, how are we feeling?
We're feeling good, man. We're feeling good. I've had an opportunity to rewatch the fight as well. But before we get into that, good to see you. Good to do this again, man. I enjoy doing these episodes. Enjoy breaking things down, like sort of looking ahead. So quite excited to be here with you, CT. Yeah. Like I said, I've
Likewise.
rewatched the fight. It's gave me a lot more information. But I feel like the end result that I had on Sunday hasn't changed. Um, however,
Right.
I do acknowledge it's a lot more closer fight than what I thought on Sunday. Right, like the 115, 113 either way, I would have been fine with, or a draw. I guess ultimately the bottom line is the problem is that 116, 112 scorecard, which definitely was not the case. And there's no way. I've seen a lot of arguments online for either Lomachenko winning, which seems to be the majority of the crowd, and then obviously we've got an argument for Haney as well that's floating around. But one thing everyone's unified in is the fact that there was never a 116, 112 scorecard in there. So, which is obviously the point of controversy. But have you rewatched the fight, CD?
I have. Certainly, nothing's changed a lot, but I said it was close. I said it was close at the time, and I felt like if Haney was the winner still, but the scores were closer, I'd be more comfortable with that. I think, there was obviously a lot of reaction, overreaction, but I felt like, yeah, the judges, especially that one that got it quite wrong, in my opinion, the 116,
Yeah.
112, Moretti, I believe.
Mm. Yeah.
Let us know your thoughts, everyone, again in the comments section. Yeah, appreciate everyone's comments weighing in. DJ,
Yeah.
we had the boxing world in the comment section.
Yeah, absolutely, and we appreciate them. There was a lot. Even our fans were divided, which is accurate. It's not wrong to be that because that's what happens with a close fight. And I don't think we've ever said this before, and I want to reiterate that again. By no way was this a robbery, right? This fight was so close. Close fights cannot be labeled robberies. Robberies are when there is someone blatantly winning a fight, right? But the other person gets awarded the win. There have been rare instances, I know, even in the UFC or in the
Yeah,
boxing world, sometimes we see that. But it was not a robbery, right? It
indeed.
was such a close fight purely because of the skill set of both both the boxers in Devin Haney and Vasily Lomachenko. They're so skilled, they're able to adapt, they're able to sort of do what they intend to do. And I think largely the reason for this fight being close is what I noticed, especially in the rewatch, is that both Haney and Lomachenko were very eager to get back whatever they missed. For example, if their opponent landed one on them, they were very eager to get that back, which in turn makes the fight close because the numbers are so close. Now, as I said, I still stick to my original score of 7-5 Vasily Lomachenko. However, having rewatched it, I can see the argument how two or three of those rounds could have gone either way, right? It's not wrong. It's such a close round. It's just it's not wrong to score those rounds to the other party, which eventually then makes it either 7-5 Devin Haney, or there's a good argument for a 6-6, which is a draw, right? But look, ultimately, I know we spoke about the appeal. The Lomachenko team was putting in an appeal. I don't think that'll go any further, right? I think the decision will remain. I mean, at the end of the day, 3 days removed from the fight, Devin Haney is still undefeated, 30-0, right? Undisputed, unified lightweight world champion, right? And he's probably going to turn his gaze towards his next opponent. We haven't heard much from the Lomachenko camp in terms of what they want to do next. I don't think Lomachenko will retire on with a loss against his record, right? And also there were some So there's some chatter about Devin Haney not remaining at 135 as well. Now, yes, that is correct because it is a hard weight cut for him. He does drain himself quite a lot, and he's admitted it. That is a hard weight cut. Eventually, he's looking at jumping up to that 140 division where we see the likes of
Yep.
Ryan Garcia, right?
Yeah.
Teofimo Lopez, Romero. Now, having said that, I do think he is going to make that cut at least a couple more times purely because there's two very lucrative fights in the 135-pound division. One is Shakur Stevenson, and the other one is Gervonta Davis. Right now, up until now, Devin Haney's been considered someone who's very hard to touch, hard to hit. Right, he's very good defensively, and it's hard to get inside his jab. Lomachenko's gone out and proven both those statements wrong, right? He was able to negate the jab to the point where he completely got taken out of the game plan. Well, obviously there were still jabs going on, but that the game plan changed to body shots. And then also he was able to land more on Haney as well. Now this will give a lot more encouragement to the likes of Gervonta Davis, who's known for landing those power punches, right? And who's also going against, like, if you compare both Davis and Haney, Haney's a longer, rangier fighter, right? So you need to find your way in there. And Lomachenko's proven that being the smaller guy, he was able to do that. And the Shakur Stevenson fight, they sort of built it up in the ring, right? I mean, it doesn't make sense for two fighters of that level of skill, and they're both in their absolute prime of their career, to not fight for the undisputed belts. Right. It doesn't make sense if they go and do that fight at 140. Neither party holds belts at 140. Right. So I believe that fight will happen at 135. Right. It's a big money fight as well. The whole boxing world, the whole combat world will tune into the Shakur Stevenson Devin Haney fight, which I strongly believe is going to be next. Right. And we know that there's going to be, if Stevenson were to beat Haney, we know there's definitely going to be a rematch clause. So that's going to extend that whole camp, that fight across maybe 8, 9, 10 months, right? So we're not looking at a different opponent for Haney till at least after a good 12 months, a year. But that is if Shakur Stevenson wins. Now we don't know, with the boxing world, we know like sometimes matchmaking. No, but we're looking at the heavyweight division, and it's obvious, right? Like so much going on, but it just seems sometimes it's hard to make these fights. Lightweight division's proven that wrong so far, but let's see. What do you think, CT? Do you think Haney stays at 135? Or do you think he said, nah, I said, I'm done. I've proven everything I want at 135. I'm going to leave this division as a 135-pound champion, undefeated, undisputed.
Great question, but honestly, nothing would shock me. I wouldn't be shocked if he stayed to fight Shakur or he moved up. What do I want to happen? I would like him to stay. Continue to defend. I mean, I don't think it was an emphatic win. I mean, it was a close win. Wouldn't you say?
It was a close win, yeah.
Did this win over Loma feel like emphatic to you?
No, not at all. Not one bit. Like I said, I'm still saying, in my opinion, Lomachenko still won. A very close fight, very, very close fight. And Lomachenko won. I'm still saying that, and so is the majority of the boxing world, including professional boxers, fighters, right? Now, just to step off topic a bit, CT, something that is getting thrown around a lot, and we see this in the UFC as well. When we have close fights, right? When they're fighting for belts and they have close fights, there's always this thing where you gotta beat the champion. Do you agree with that statement? Do you agree that, that's how it should be, where you gotta put your stamp on it. You got to knock this person out to be able to win the belt. Do you think that's correct?
Great question again, man. I agree that it's a thing. Like it's something that's actually true. But do I like it? Do I agree with it? I don't. I think it should be just looked at as a fight in isolation. I think it should be just looked at like if you just win that one, you deserve to win it. How about yourself?
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Spot on. Because this is the thing, right? The way I like these things to work out in any combat organization is it doesn't matter. Like, absolutely, you've been the best in the division, hence why you can hold the belts. But every time a fight takes place, and when those titles go up for the grabs for either party, it eventually, for that particular moment, for those 25 minutes, there is no champion. It's a vacant title,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's how
Great
I'd like to
point.
look at it, right? And you score the fight like you score any other fight. It shouldn't matter who's the champion and who's not the champion. It should be, well, we're judging based on these criterias. Okay, based on that, who's in the lead? Yeah, you go, that person wins, right? Like, I think, but having said that, like, man, this 116, 112 scorecard aside, the judges do have a tough job in their hands too. Like, there is no denying that that particular fight was very hard to score. How do you score that fight? It was very hard, right? It was
Yeah.
very hard. Now, on Sunday, even on Monday, before I rewatched the fight, I had a couple of my mates reach out as well and talk about how some of them felt Haney did win, and I was disagreeing, and I said no, it was very clear. I thought Lomachenko won, and then I rewatched it again, and obviously objectively as well, and I can see that now. Like, I actually reached out to these people and said, you know what, I see what you mean. Like, absolutely, like they're giving Haney a close win. That's fine. It's just that 116, 112 card
Yeah.
that just was
Exactly.
not on. Yeah.
Yeah. No, great points. I agree with you. I think, yeah, but yeah, the body shots do make a
The body
convincing
shots, man.
argument.
I did miss that in the when it was like I didn't realize
Yeah.
how much body shots were thrown by Haney. Right, there was quite a bit, and there was we spoke about this on air as
Yeah.
well. Why did Loma not go for the finish in round 11? Man, those body shots would have taken a toll, right? It compromises your breathing, your conditioning, your cardio. You know what I mean? Like, it probably made him gas more. He just couldn't go for the finish, especially knowing, well, what if I throw everything I have and he doesn't go out of here? I got one more round to survive, and what if he puts me out, right? It's always going to be in your mind, and we know Lomachenko is a very
Exactly.
high-thinking fighter. So yeah, look, those body shots did pay dividends. So, you know what I mean? So yeah, man. Look, great fight. Kudos to both men. Extremely talented, skilled fighters. Props to the people who put up that fight, because that's what we want to see in the boxing world, is the best fight the best. The other promoters take that as an example. Let's keep building on that. And yeah, man, that's it. That's it.
Yep, let's keep building and we'll continue to talk about it, yeah, in our weekly roundup in terms of more news and Loma. But we've got to
Yeah,
hit on DJ on the other boxing event,
yeah,
Katie Taylor.
yeah, yeah, man.
Lost,
Absolutely. Like, so.
unfortunately, big spectacle in Ireland. How did you see
Yeah,
it?
yeah. So Katie Taylor versus Chantel Cameron for all the titles. Again, an undisputed fight. Now, in this instance, Katie Taylor went up a weight class to challenge a heavier fighter, heavier boxer. There was a lot around this. Obviously, we know one thing is that Conor McGregor was very involved in this whole fight, the build up, and supporting and promoting the fight and sponsoring the fight as well. Obviously, his pub and his um, uh, whiskey and everything was promoting the fight. He partnered with Eddie Hearn, which was great to see. They obviously have a good relationship. It was Katie Taylor's homecoming. We know how the Irish back their fighters. Same thing. I believe the iconic stadium in Ireland is Croke Park, but they weren't able to get that, so I think they did it in another stadium. So obviously,
Yeah, exactly.
it got filled out. Conor was cage side as well, very animated. Man, look, I did see the fight, very close fight, right? Very close fight. I do feel the right person won, right? But that takes nothing away from Katie Taylor. Katie Taylor has been a pioneer in bringing mainstream boxing, female boxing, into the forefront, and championing that, and paving the way to many other female boxers in the boxing community. So props to her, man. She's a superstar. I really like her style of fighting. They did a blockbuster fight last year with and
Yep.
Serrano, which was great. She edged that out.
Yeah.
But now, obviously,
Mm.
she wanted to challenge herself. Didn't want to take an easy fight just because it's at home. Went in, took the biggest challenge possible. Not just that, went up a weight class and gave a tough fight. It was a split decision. It was a majority decision win for Cameron, not a unanimous. Right, that sort of speaks volumes of the strength and caliber and skill set of Katie Taylor. And we've spoken about this number a number of times in multiple occasions. there is this stigma that you got to be undefeated to be the best. That's not really the case. Sometimes you take defeat and you come back, and that shows more of a heart of a champion than anything else. How do you take on defeat and then come back out and able to display your heart, your skill set, and get back on the winning path? So yeah, props to Katie Taylor. I believe they're going to do the rematch. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm hearing talks about it. She's definitely keen.
Yeah.
But let's see. Yeah, big event, and yeah, it was unfortunate they couldn't get Croke Park, but good to see Hearn, McGregor get involved together. Echo your thoughts. Katie Taylor, huge cult hero, and we wish her all the best, and we hope that she bounces back.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So also we had a pretty eventful UFC card, DJ, on the weekend. Sort of that kind of got lost. I'm not going to say lost, but not as much attention. But it ended up being a banger.
It sure was a banger, man. Like I was not very many times do I go into a weekend and say, look, UFC is not on the top of my list for this weekend. Whenever there's other combat sports around it, I always whether it's a fight night or a pay-per-view event, I'm always okay. UFC is on. I'm gonna watch that first, and then if time permits, I'll watch everything around it. Like one of those this past weekend was one of those rare occasions where I was like, hey, one, because I'm a massive Loma fan, I'll just say it. Right, so I was very keen for the Lomachenko Haney fight. So I was pretty hyped for that. So I was thinking that's my priority event. So that's what I want to watch, and then anything that time permits, I'll watch around it. So UFC kind of took that back seat, but then I realized the timings of it kind of worked out perfectly, which was great. So I had that running as well. Man, look, turned out to be look. Sometimes these sleeper cards are some of the best cards ever. I mean, did you watch the main event? Mackenzie Dern and Angela Hill.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I did.
Whew.
It was crazy.
It was bananas, man.
A lot of solid, big hits. The knee.
Yeah.
What did you think of the knee?
Man, but they're probably gonna build another mythical fighter called Divorced Dern, right? Because obviously she's coming out of a divorce. She spoke about her personal struggles and thoughts and wishes with that. Now look, she performed extremely well, man. Like we know how great she is in jiu-jitsu. That's her background. That runs in the family. She's extremely skilled once she starts to work on you down on the ground. But it's like end game, right? You're done. But what was surprising for me is how improved the striking was, and especially going against a very tough opponent in Angela Hill, who's a gamer who comes to fight, and then which she did. She was tough. I mean, look, I honestly felt it was a clean sweep. It was a 5-0 for Mackenzie Dern, but that doesn't tell the whole story because Hill kept coming back. She tried to take Dern down herself, and she's tough. Hill was visibly compromised. There was, the swelling in her face, but she still kept coming forward. But man, like Mackenzie Dern really, really impressed me. Not only did her performance impress me, the call out afterwards I thought was amazing because she called out Rose Namajunas. We've questioned it in I think 2 episodes prior. Well, what's happening with Rose? When are they going to get her to fight? But I love this fight, Mackenzie Dern and Rose Namajunas, who's an elite fighter. And then in the post-fight press conference, she also said, like, if Rose Namajunas is not going to take the fight or not going to fight, I'll fight Jessica Andrade, which is, again, another fight, right? I mean, Yan Xiaonan is most likely getting a title shot after beating Andrade. So, yeah. Great one.
Definitely.
And then we had your boy in the co-main event, Edmund Sebastian, taking on Anthony Hernandez. What did you think of that fight?
That was crazy. He got hurt, and I've been high on him early on when Edwin was on a tear.
Yeah.
But he's been struggling, like nothing
man,
short
like
of What do you think of his struggles recently?
I don't want to be disrespectful towards sort of his fight camps and all that, but I just feel like he needs to change his fighting camp. I think he's currently training with Ronda Rousey's coach.
Okay.
I feel like he'll gain. He's very talented. He's very young. There's still more time for him, which is the best part, right?
Yeah.
He was
Look at
losing and then he
Anthony
was able.
Smith. You know, remember
Yeah, like
when he
yeah,
lost 3 or 4 in a row?
yeah. And then Sebastian's a younger dude, right? And he's taken some tough fights. This was also one of those cases where they tried to like sort of boost him up too quickly, put him against Derek Brunson, who made short work of him. And you know, like it was a budding prospect. They didn't build him up properly. But look, having said that, Anthony Hernandez Sebastian is a very evenly matched fight, right? This is a fight that if you are who you are, if you are someone who's fighting with title intentions down the line, you'd expect that you'll be able to get a win over Anthony Hernandez, who's no easy task anyway. And Ben, but yeah, look, it was tough for
Yeah.
Sebastian, but Hernandez got a good win, man. It was a TKO. I felt like even if it had gone the distance, Hernandez would have got the win. But yeah, he got that TKO win in the third round. So yeah, look, I think Edmund needs to take some time, reset. I do feel like he just needs a coaching camp that'll help him kind of fine tune some of his skill sets.
Yep. Good. Yeah. Good insight. I agree. Now, what did you think of the other another banger event fight in this one?
I think I know which one you're going to talk about. Oh, and there were two. There were two that had some crazy knockouts. But you're talking about the Joaquin Niemanza Buckley one.
That and the MJ going to sleep.
Oh, Michael Johnson and yeah. Look, probably the knockout of the night. One of the highlight real knockout for ages was that Diego Ferreira versus Michael Johnson fight. Michael Johnson was actually doing well in that first round. And even up until that knockout, he was doing well, and then man, he got caught like he threw a beautiful overhand, and that's it. You see him, he's knocked out before he even hit the canvas, man. That was a highlight reel. That's it. Michael Johnson's one of those fighters, man. He can beat anyone on any given day, and he can also lose to anyone on any given day. I know that's the fight business, but it's just more so stressed on Michael Johnson. He's knocked out Dustin Poirier, right? And then obviously, so yeah, it's just crazy. But look, tough times obviously for him. He's a great fighter. He's an extremely talented striker. But yeah, look, he seems to be getting caught in some of these unlucky situations where he's winning a fight and then he gets caught. Same with Josh Emmett as well. But yeah, man. But that knockout was standout. It was a standout highlight reel knockout.
What do you think about those fighters that just fight with their defense, their guard down, and
Yeah.
it's something to be said. If it happens once, every fighter can get caught, DJ, every now and then.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on when it becomes a trend?
No, absolutely.
Don't you just want to like just try to survive, go the distance, repair your name a little bit, or do you think some fighters just don't think like that? They just think like I always try to go for the finish.
I mean, look, the mentality, especially in the UFC, that's been drilled down is like, if you are flashy, if you tend to get these kind of highlight reel knockouts, you're well liked by the organization. You get fast tracked, you get promoted, and you get bonuses. So people are more incentivized to try and do these things, right?
Yep.
In terms of what you say, in terms of not having the guard up, like, look, you never go wrong with fundamentals, right? No matter at which part of the your career you're in and what's your skill level, sticking to fundamentals and having those basic defense techniques present at all times throughout the fight is extremely valuable, extremely beneficial. So we can see. Now, sometimes we see fighters put their hands down because that's their fighting style, right? We see Michael Venom Page always has got his guard down, right? And he's got a very unique fighting style. Right, and then sometimes it's based on like if they do start with a high guard, and once you've tested your opponent, you've tested their strength, you kind of feel confident that this person can't, knock you out. You tend to drop your hands down a little bit more. You get a little bit more freedom in that sense, but then you get caught. Like, you never know. But the truth is, fighting the same weight division, anyone can knock you out at any given day. That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, look, I think the fundamentals. you also got to analyze where are you at the moment in terms of your career. Like if you are having a skid, right, and you want to get back up, probably yes, a knockout brings you right back, right, and then bam, you're like back in the hot topic. But sometimes you just got to slow it down a bit and say, oh well, let me get a win first, like, you know what I mean. But if you're on a winning streak, but your wins aren't doing that much, they're just normal. Well, like Diego Ferreira, like he's not, he wins fights as well, and his fights are known to be very similar, where he just gets a decision. He grinds them out and gets a decision, which sometimes is not viewed by the UFC as very fan friendly. And in that situation, getting a knockout like this boosts you straight up.
Yeah, great. Yeah, you made great points. And also, I wanted to ask you something about what's coming up in terms of the UFC, in terms of the next pay-per-view. What have you got your eye on that's coming up?
Man, I'm gonna be honest. Like the Canada card's great, right? If I were to name like my top five fights that I'm looking forward to in the UFC in the coming months, Oliveira Benil Dariush is one, right? And then I've got my eye on the Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje one. How can you not?
Oh,
Alexander Volkanovski
yeah,
versus Yair Rodriguez. I'm very
yeah,
excited for that fight. Whenever Alexander Volkanovski fights, man, it's just we're privileged. We're blessed to see this guy fight.
sign
He's a
me
he's a
up.
he's a pound for pound great, and yeah, very excited. Another Aussie on that same card, one of our favorites, Robert Whittaker taking on Dricius Duplessis. Very keen for that fight. Actually, man, believe it or not, I'm also keen for the Aljamain Sterling Sean O'Malley card because it's just they got a nice little feud going, so I'm quite excited for that. Yeah, so and look, tons, man. Like even based on cards, both the International Fight Week cards are bangers. Right? They're bangers. The whole card, they're bangers. Even the UFC
Yeah,
Canada one has got some really good fights in there as well. Even the main event, a lot of people were talking about how Juliana Pena dropped out, and uh, the fight's not. I feel like Irene Aldana
yeah,
is a better fight for me, to be honest. Than because I've seen what happens with Juliana Pena, and I just feel like, look, I just don't think it's as competitive as everyone will think it. I think Nunes will get that win
yeah,
again quite easily. Whereas I feel like Aldana, we have not seen her with Aldana. Aldana's built; she's got a big frame as well, and she's quite skilled. It's an extremely skilled striker. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. So like, yeah, I'd love to see that fight. So yeah,
yeah. Of course, yeah. As we get closer towards the end of the year, and the fight cards get better and better with the UFC as we get closer to International
hey,
Fight Week and the
did you
announcement
hear?
of the Australia card in
Yeah.
September. Yeah,
Yes, yeah, excited for that. We will definitely be there in person. And also, did you see like Conor McGregor and Dana White both confirmed that he will fight before the end of the year. So I'm thinking, man, December card, because there's no way they're gonna put John
yeah.
Jones and
I
McGregor in the same card, right?
agree. I saw that. Yeah, November,
Yeah.
December. It's going to be huge. Um,
Yep.
Now, let's just touch on a little bit about what's sort of swirling around. Not some confirmed, some not. But
Yep.
we heard some reports that there's a Crawford Spence,
Oh yeah. Yep. Yep.
negotiation that's looking
Yep.
likely. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think ESPN Ringside reported that Crawford and Spence Jr., Errol Spence Jr. Are scheduled to fight on the 29th of July. There's a lot of information coming out about that. So they're
Banger.
scheduled to fight on the 29th of July. There's going to be a rematch clause on both parties. So whoever loses, they can exercise the rematch clause. So it seems like there's a lot being
Indeed.
done in the background, which means the fight's ready. Which also kind of confuses me. Why have they not announced it? Right, but look, seems like also Errol Spence had posted in his social media that he's back in training, back in camp, saying day one fight camp. So it does seem like he's got that
Okay.
fight.
Yep.
Man, it's a banger of a fight. Like this is a fight in the same vein of the Lomachenko Haney, the Ryan Garcia, Tank Davies, like higher level fighters. The best fight in the best. If that fight gets announced, and I'll believe it when it does get announced, man, sign me up. I'll be there. Like, I'll be watching that fight, without a doubt, because it's a fantastic fight. It's two skilled fighters, and I'd love to see, how that turns out. Like, it'll be like a chess match, exactly like how Haney Lomachenko was.
Yep. And then the
Yep.
next thing I want to ask you is we have Joseph Parker fighting in here in Australia, and we have Tyson Fury who's touched down, who's actually here on the
Yeah,
soil,
Joseph Parker's
and
fighting today, right? He's fighting today.
yeah,
Yeah, he's
yep,
fighting today.
today,
Yeah, and then obviously
yep,
him and Tyson Fury, they're close friends, so like he's here to
mm,
support him. But yeah, I did catch his interviews. Seems like he's quite keen to have a fight here. He wants to have a fight here in Australia,
mm,
and seems like he might even be looking at Australian heavyweight for that fight, right? Was
yeah,
it
that'd be
Dempsey? Is that
fantastic.
correct? Yeah, Dempsey is the
Yep,
name that
McKean,
gets thrown around. Dempsey McKean is getting thrown around. Obviously, he's unranked by the
yep,
WBC at the moment. But look again, like when you're in a situation or that Tyson Fury is in, you're able to call your shots as long as
agree.
that doesn't compromise the Usyk Fury fight, man. Like I keep advocating for this fight. I just want that fight to happen. That's it. And but look, even Fury admitted, look, well, the Fury Usyk fight is still in talks, and this was said by Tyson Fury. Like we're still trying to make that happen. So we never know.
Yeah,
They might just announce it. And let me tell you this really quickly, right? The Now that a lot more promoters are seeing the likes of what's happening with the when the Ryan Garcia vs Javonta Davis fight happened, the Lomachenko Haney fight happened, is that they're seeing the appetite for these kind of fights and how much people tune in, right? You definitely will get your boxing fans, whoever you fight. You get a superstar and you get an unknown fighter, right? You gotta get the boxing fans will definitely tune in, right? But when you get to high level, the best fight in the best, you even get your non-boxing fans tune in, right?
100%.
Tons and tons of UFC fans who are not really like into like just normal boxing. But if you have two superstars fighting, you got Usyk and Fury fighting for a unified title, which hasn't happened in a very long time for the heavyweight division. Guaranteed, I'll put my money on it. Everyone tunes in. Everyone tunes in.
Mm.
Everyone wants to watch it. Whether if you're a combat sports fan, you tune in. That's it. So I think that's a simple
Yeah,
formula. Just make everyone makes money. Everyone's winning, right? And they said like the
yeah,
Javon Davis, Ryan Garcia fight was one of the biggest pay-per-views in recent history. So there you go. Proofs in the pudding.
yeah. I feel like we'll get that Saudi Arabia mega event. It's just maybe timing.
Hey,
I don't know
I'll
if I'm
talk to you.
being optimistic.
Hey, I'll talk to you closer to the event, but CT, I might try and convince you to travel to Abu Dhabi if that were to happen. You know what I mean? We just
Oh,
go for a week, man. That's
yeah,
if there's anything
we
that's
can get
worth
that
it,
to tap
traveling.
sponsorship.
Oh man,
Yeah,
we'll sponsor each other.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, nice.
And
Um,
yeah, this has been a great episode. Can't wait to continue to talk combat sports with you, DJ.
yeah.
Everyone, appreciate you. Subscribe, like, and don't miss our weekly roundup and our recaps. Anything else you want to get out there?
Nothing else, man. We love our
Anything
fans. Like
else?
keep showing the love. You know, keep showing the love and keep subscribing, like CT said, and give us your
Yep.
feedback. You know, we'd love to hear that. Tell us what you'd like to hear more. Right? If you disagree with us, let us know that too, because we like to hear that, and we like to hear your opinions. Like I love reading the comments in our last episode. So keep it going. We love you guys, our fans. So that's it, man. Time to wrap this up.
Yep. This one's a wrap. On that's a tap.